Article 1 to 11 done. So we created the territory. Then we gave recognized who all, that is citizens. Okay. Now we are going to understand some of the rights guaranteed by constitution itself. It is not guaranteed by parliament. It is not guaranteed by any other organizations. It is guaranteed by the agency which created the framework, which created parliament, which created Supreme Court, which created executive. The same organization is also creating what is called guarantees. And these guarantees, since they are guaranteed by the constitution itself, we call it as fundamental rights. But remember, fundamental rights over a period of time, we can identify broad first generation rights, second generation rights, third generation rights. Do you agree with me? First generation rights means what is already existing with you, that will be protected. Okay, for example, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Second generation rights is basically enhanced version of first. They enable you to do this. For example, right to right to health, right to food, right to education. Third generation rights. Remember, this generation of rights will again fetch you marks. All right, this enhancement of these rights is done as the society gets more and more civilized. Civilized again because of the role of someone called civil society. In your mains examination, there is a topic. Civil society means everyone who is away, who is outside the realm of the government. So media is a civil society, a private organization is a civil society, NGO, non-governmental organization, civil society. An active civil society is a hallmark of any healthy democracy, gentlemen. Democracy. All right, remember Russia, USSR to collapse was largely because there was no active civil society. Because the civil societies, they always keep the government on its toes. The civil society, they criticize the government, they protest against the government, they keep a vigil of the government, they activate the citizens from past. These are, see, I and you are all passive citizens. Passive citizens, we don't look after day-to-day life of the government, what they are doing, what they're not doing. Mera kaam, I will pay tax, done. But what about this active citizenry? All right, these are the people who educate you, who create awareness among you. Are you paying taxes? Go and fight for your money. Go and fight for your information. This is what is the civil society. All right. Now, right to health, right to food ho gaya. Now we are talking about right to internet, right to environment. Okay. Right to higher education. Right to higher education. Okay. Right to privacy. Now, some broad features of and again, right of minorities, sexual minorities, I would say, not minorities. It is sexual minorities. Example: LGBT community, lesbians, okay, bisexuals, transgenders, and LGBT. Sorry, trans. All right, gays, bisexuals, and transgenders. All right, enhancing their rights. All right, then something called consumer rights. Consumer rights. Have you heard of this? What is this consumer rights? As a consumer of any product, you have essentially a right to know what you are actually consuming. Is it expired? Is it being given at a fair price? Is it any damages that can be caused because of consuming this? These are some of the rights as a consumer. All right, over a period of time, now this right has also become one of your legal right. Are you aware of this? Consumer Rights Protection Act 1986. Nenpila. Consumer Rights Protection Act. All right. Now it is your right to know That is why, you know, after the foods that the processed foods ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಎಲ್ಲ, you know, when is it manufactured, when is it not manufactured, you know, when it will expire, what is the maximum retail price, you know, what is the helpline, etc. You have seen that. Juice ಕುಡಿದಿರ್ತೀರಲ್ವಾ, ಅದ್ರ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸುತ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ವಾ, it is a mandatory for the company to give it. All right. Okay, remember now in 2021 they have amended this particular act. You know why? They want to bring e-commerce companies also within the realm of consumer rights. So when you are buying something, the company has to give you, Amazon and Flipkart, if you are buying, you might have seen that, when are you going to get it refund? What if the delivery service, you know, what are the grievance mechanisms? Come again, grievance. Matlab, if the whatever is shown and whatever you got, what if it is two different things? Whom are you going to? All right, these are your rights. So e-commerce companies also have been brought under the realm of consumer, you know, Consumer Protection Act. So this is again essentially part of our, you know, third generation rights, gentlemen. Okay, now broadly I have discussed, uh, the nature of fundamental rights. Fundamental rights generally have been largely recognition of whatever is already existing. Howda? See, you are a human. You have, you know, you are a human. You have to have a you know, this air is yours, this land is yours. Whatever is already existing, the constitution is just putting it in the form of a framework. But remember, in USA, from where we have taken the concept of fundamental rights, where they have clearly mentioned it as Bill of Rights. Remember, Bill of Rights. Your constitution in the now idea, it is largely individual rights. Come again, individual rights. But in India, we have made it as individual rights as well as group rights or collective rights. For example, you are a minority. All right, you can set up your own educational institution. It's a group right. Howda? Okay. Then see here, you see, our constitution makers wanted to specify exactly what does Goutham has. What rights does Goutham has? They wanted to clearly specify it. Why I'm saying this is, okay. But in UK, see here, UK, see in USA, in India, we are specifying what are the rights of the individuals, what are the rights of these groups. But in in UK, they specify what are the rights that citizens don't have, except that everything they have. We are listing out the rights, but they are saying these are not your rights. Apart from that, you have every right. Okay. All right. And largely, our fundamental rights are to ensure political democracy. Largely, not only political democracy, for you to express yourself freely, for you to move everywhere freely, so that political integration of India is easy. You are treated equally. All right, largely to ensure that, you know, unification or the idea of nation arrives. But we are also towards socio-economic welfare as well. Socio-economic welfare. That is, we are trying to give affirmative actions, positive discrimination, we call it as. Instead of using the word reservation, you can use, you know, a more creative word, positive discrimination or affirmative action. Aita? Yes, for social transformation. All right. Now, is India the only country? No. Australia is giving for aboriginals, the tribes. USA is giving for black people. All right. Basically, it is to bring the people, to correct the historical injustice that had been done, to undo them. But how long this reservation has to continue? That's a subject matter. All right. Now, as we go on discussing, we will be telling about the nature of how the fundamental rights. What about the quota? All right, that is the 50%. Whatever the 50%, and is quota alone sufficient? Is quota alone sufficient, or because most of the, especially after economic liberalization, we need to make our administrative machinery more and more democratic, more and more efficient. It has to be people friendly also, it has to be efficient also. So I'll tell you some case studies where they have found that having more and more uh, reservation in the government sector, wherever reservation is more, the efficiency has drastically come down. Okay, so whether should we go with still with the continue with the reservation system? What about the impact on the efficiency of the administration? Because they are not appointed based on merit. Howda?